I feel pretty good, don't you? How's everything look?
It's good. We're
I
recording.
gotta sit up like a man. I gotta not slouch.
You look good.
You look good.
So, welcome to the Twitchcast. We're back. I think maybe mid October or something like that was the last time we talked. Always a lot going on, but that's just kind of the norm around here. Gosh, what has happened in the last couple of months? We've put out our alpha of the new admin in GG Leap. Started doing the qualifiers of the Zehn series. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, let's get it going.
Yeah, it's today's topic because it's always easy for me to figure out a topic just based on whatever's going on. So the latest conversations I've had with people that are calling, that are opening and starting up and beginning to get into the land center business, and to say that it's been a whirlwind of trips and contacts and consulting agreements and I don't even know the right word. Whirlwind is way too small of a word, but so I've been traveling all over, out west, out east, meeting with lots of different groups. It's I think we said this in the Facebook group a couple months ago, but a switch has been flipped. Like within the last 3 months, a switch has been flipped and people get it. Mm-hmm. Like people get land center. Like I think enough people have put money into bad ideas for ICOs and websites that were going to take over the tournament world. And like people are looking for investments in esports that are real. And I think that's why all these other professional team owners put money into the Overwatch League at that size, like let us invest in something tangible, real, that is existing, that we have some control over, not an idea, not something that's not proven. And so as a land center owner and group that has been around for, actually we turn officially 13. We'll start our 14th year in 2 days, J-Mac, on the 10th.
Yeah, eBash.
That's when we opened in 2004. Yeah, so as a land center group that's done this for 13 plus years, and as a software company that's been building software for this industry for 4 years and running tournaments now for almost 10 years, we are hot and sexy to a lot of people, and it feels good. I mean, it feels like it's like I was in high school and I was all of a sudden the cool kid, like this is what it felt like to, be the cool kid in high school, and everybody wanted to be you, and you just walked through the halls and you lifted your head high. And, now that dude is totally like a loser and drunkard and been divorced 18 times. But it's our time to shine,
it's our time to be drunkards.
That's right. That's time for us to, no, I don't say that. But so anyway, all roads kind of end up coming back to us in this industry, it seems like, because we've done it so long. One of the guys found my blogs that I used to write, and I don't really physically write blogs anymore. We started doing these videos instead because it's easier for us to get together and just, talk back and forth about the topics at hand instead of typing them all up. And I am amazed by the number of people that are calling. Maybe I've talked to them before, maybe I haven't, but it's very evident to me that in 2018, there is going to be an explosion. And just to be clear, I'm open and honest about everything. We opened up, and it's just starting up, the theater retrofit in Illinois. We've talked about that before. eBash is actively pursuing partners, and our criteria for partners are those that own and control real estate. And it's not a real estate play at all. It's a partnership play, because for 13 years I've ran these businesses, and I know how hard it is to start up an individual business, sign a lease, build out the store, build up a brand new brand, yeah, and build an independently ran and owned and operated business by scratch, and being able to afford, all of the luxuries of a marketing department and, teams that help you with operations and all of those different pieces. So we are now looking at multiple locations for eBash to expand into as a land center. Wouldn't even be possible if we didn't have the software. The software has been key in all of this to be able to, so if we could share license pools across all of the eBash locations of all the games we own. ggCircuit provides us with licenses to games that we didn't have to go buy, like Battlefield 1 and Dawn of War and a lot of those kind of games. But, I cannot believe, it's taken us this long to find some of these magical formulas and ideas and partnerships. But now we're looking at family entertainment centers and at bowling alleys and at restaurants and at theaters. And a lot of times it's individuals and investors who aren't landlords by nature. They just happen to own real estate, and so I have to explain that to people a lot of times, like, if you own a strip mall and your business is real estate, then you're not the kind of partner for this, because all you're looking at is how much rent can I get for that space. What we're looking at now are partners that own a building, that have extra square footage in a building and probably operate other things within that building. And this is auxiliary income for them. Like this is an add-on to something they might do. So it might be a guy that we're talking to that owns a gadget repair business, an iPhone break your screen and come in and fix your screen business. And next door to him, the space became available to rent. So he doesn't own that space, but he has an existing retail footprint next door and he controls that space. So he could then lease the space next to him, knock a hole in the wall, and use his existing staff at the counter to check in people for the video game side, put a couple coolers in and a snack bar, and add $5,000 to $10,000 a month to his bottom line without adding the extra cost, besides maybe a little bit of lease on the square footage next door. We're talking to a lot of people that are interested in a revenue share model, like put it all in, we'll help you build it, we'll help you pay for it, you build it, you set it all up, you run it, and we'll just take a percentage of that back as an investor in the business, not necessarily a landlord that wants return on their real estate. So our question today is finding investors for esports centers and video game land centers. A lot of guys and gals out there that want to get in this business, there's two things to think about. You have to understand, if you have the business mentality and you have the wherewithal and you have the ability to start and run and operate a business, like finding money is the hardest part, because everybody assumes they can run a good business. But once you find the money, you have to actually be able to do it, or else you can't pay those people back. And finding the right partners a lot of times is really the hardest part, because some of those partners can bring in operations and financial support, and maybe even some marketing support that helps you get that business off the ground that you assumed you could do by yourself, but it's probably because you're naive and you just haven't done it before. So right now we're talking to groups in multiple locations, and the fun thing is for me right now is that I'm able to start pairing some of these people up. So I go into a city, and in any location that we're talking about. So we just this week we were out in New Jersey talking to a new partner out there that has physical space, that's renovating it, is ready to put esports in. They don't want to operate it. Meanwhile, in the New Jersey area, there's 2 or 3 different people that we've talked to in the past that have been researching and trying to get open, but they couldn't find financing and they couldn't find a space. Like it is so fun for me right now, because it's like putting a puzzle together. My kids right now are obsessed with putting the puzzles together. So last night for an hour, I had my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old and myself were on the floor. They wanted to fill the living room floor up. We have hardwood floors. They wanted to fill it up with all of these puzzles. So we're putting together giant foam floor puzzles, little tiny baby puzzles. And yeah, I was just thinking as we did that, it's just what I'm doing now is, fitting these pieces together, and we're trying to take all these other little deals that we're making, and they're going to be their own little puzzle, but then all of those puzzles together fill up the floor and create this giant network of locations that are working together. And in our case, it's under one brand, under one management, under one system of operations, so that we can always say Thursday night's League of Legends night, Tuesday night's Counter-Strike night. We can go to partners and we can go to sponsors and we can bring those in. So I think finding investors for esports centers and video game land centers, I think that's going to become easier for a lot of people next year. And instead, it's going to be more of like, if you want to be in this business and you want to operate and you want to get involved and you don't have the money, we're going to be able to find you somebody else that maybe has the space and has the money, that's looking for somebody else to come in and operate it. Maybe and we can then hand you the playbook. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, surprisingly yet, I said this to somebody else, but I don't have contacts in every city in America or every region in America, but so far, everybody that's come to us that is interested in getting into this as an investor and a space owner, I've had somebody nearby that we can call up and say, hey, are you interested in getting involved locally and helping maybe invest a little bit, maybe operate it, maybe both of those things? It's super, super fun right now. So I think, so for everybody that we work with, like we've really stopped doing $200 consulting calls because we're too busy. So for us, it's always been, I used to try to do it for free. And then I charged $100, and then we charged $200. And part of it was like we're trying to qualify the person that's calling us so we don't waste our time with somebody that has no intention of really opening or no means of whether really opening. Now, unfortunately, I have emails in my inbox of people we've been talking to, and they just didn't pull the trigger a month or two ago to get started with us. And now I'm like, I honestly don't know if I can say to you, I have time to come consult with you and help you open up your brand and your space and your business plan. Like right now, our goal is to open 30 locations in North America in 2018. That is eBash's goal, is to open 30 locations in North America in 2018. And we're going to do that under our plan. Like we're not looking for somebody else to come in and say, hey, I really want to do this thing and I have this idea. Those people, unfortunately, they can still be software customers. And again, that's the beauty of us as a software company, which is a separate entire company that's owned differently, different ownership. That company will provide software for everybody that's interested in getting in. But everybody needs more than the software. You know that, JMac, for a while, we've been trying to figure out where to draw that line. Like, it's almost like as software people, we're investing in these local businesses with our time because we want them to be successful. We want them to succeed, not only because they're a customer paying us $100 a month and we want them to stay paying us $100 a month for 5 or 10 years, but also because we see these people and we've been down that road. We've put everything that we've owned into making a space work, and we've failed. Like we failed. Luckily for us, when we failed, it's been on second or third or fourth locations, and we've still been able to maintain our original location and stay in business in this industry by just digging in and bootstrapping it for the longest time. But, we've got to figure out where that balance is between the software side and the consulting side in the end. So I don't know. I mean, you're talking to people all the time. So from ggCircuit's perspective, we always talk about all this stuff live. So anybody that ever wants to compete with us could just come on here. But, so we've added, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've added probably 30 new subscribers to ggCircuit, let's say. And out of those 30 subscribers, there are a wide range of people involved. Some of them have been running and they're switching over. A lot of them are brand new. And we say this all the time. It's funny, but a lot of people, like our subscriptions are $29, $59, $99. The enterprise ranges from $120, to $250 or $300, depending on how big your store location is and what you need from us support-wise. But those people wait until like they get everything in and they hook it all up and they think like they're just going to, and maybe this is our fault, but they think they're just going to install 2 days before they open our software, and hopefully we're not misleading anybody, but there's a very big range between installing our software and having all the games installed and having all those things working.
Right.
We end up doing CC boot and CC disk support whether we want to or not. Is trying to help them get open and get their games running and functioning properly. And I don't know, like, do you feel the same way about the industry right now? I mean, it is so overwhelmingly exciting. Because, it is, there's no question. And one of the investors we're talking with, he had a software company in the educational world years ago. And he said the same thing he's like, we plugged along for the longest time. And he's like, at one point we looked and we had, and I have no way of verifying this. This was just his story. But at one point we looked and we had like $120,000 in the bank account, and we're trying to grow and we're trying to get all these locations up on our educational software. And then he says, I swear 6 months later we had like over $6 million in the bank account. It switched that fast, and it was like all of a sudden something clicked, and they had mass acceptance of their program and mass installations all over. And he said that was the hardest, was that period of he's like, we were hiring 2 people a day to support all the new people that were coming on board. And that's part of our plan, is that we want to be prepared. We have no idea if the NCAA will finally make a decision in the next year that it's okay for universities to give scholarships and have their players play in tournaments to win money at the professional level, because esports is very different than traditional sports, and we think that needs to be there. So if they allow that to happen and sanction that so that they can roll out their existing competition system for all the other sports in the scholarship realm, while allowing these players to play and win some money, we could get a call, because who else are they going to call, first of all? But we could get a call where 200 universities need to be installed in a 3-month period before the next school season starts. So we have to be ramped up and prepared to meet that demand. And a lot of it is not necessarily the complexity of ordering equipment or installing software or anything else. It's the professional services side. It's the education of those people and the training of those people, so that we can build this in a week and hand this to them, and then they know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. How do we then take it and run it and operate it? So we're going to have our work cut out for us and that's one of the reasons why we're bringing in this investment, is that we have to bring in new members of our team that help develop videos and training sources and portals where they can go access materials that they need to run their facilities in a certain way. And we'll end up doing support for things for all of these people that we're working with way beyond the software side. So, it's what a crazy, cool, exciting time, buddy.
I would say on a daily basis, we probably, and we have 10 different support channels or 10 different communication channels, but I'd say easily 5 to 10 people a day call us, whether they're in the planning stage or they're existing or they're just about to open. And I can tell you a couple of days this week, my whole day was just spent getting new customers up and going. Maybe I help people get started 3 or 4 different customers. The interesting thing for me is, this process takes very long to actually be up and running. And so right. We'll hit phases where we're talking to new people that are coming on board, as well as people that we started talking to 3 months ago are finally ready to roll, and they need to go too. So luckily, our system for getting started up with ggLeap is not difficult. The difficult part is working with each situation, setup, right. Knowing what they've done and they haven't done, and I try my best to say it's not a good idea to get started with us if you're new until about a month out. But some of these that want the subscription and be ready to go in 24 hours, although you can get ggLeap set up, you have to do your part on the PC. So just a warning there for anybody interested.
And I feel like you and Ross and Dustin and the other people working with the startups are getting better at, because we have a $29 a month package. That package, a lot of those packages are based on the features that are available, but the core system of installing a game and doing license management and all of those things can be started in the $29 a month package. So you guys have started doing a good job of saying to these people, listen, you may not be opening for 6 months. You have a lot of work to do over the next 6 months, but there's zero reason why you shouldn't subscribe for $29, because we build the server for you online. Like all those other softwares out there that everybody uses, there's a local server you have to go configure, and then, then set up a client, then set up an administrator, and all those are different devices, and it's very complex and expensive. But with us, if you're probably getting in this business, you may be a gamer, or a gamer, somebody that has a gaming machine, you install the client on that, we'll set up the server for you. You can start practicing running those simulations of creating a customer, logging in, launching a game, linking your account, tracking your coins, redeeming a prize. All of that stuff can be done while you're waiting on all the other things, because that's the hardest part of starting a center is, like you're always waiting on some piece, whether it's the carpenters or the electricians or the city to approve your zoning, or, being able to get the equipment shipped in, or waiting on the manufacturer that makes the desks or the chairs, or, like you're always waiting. You always have downtime. So, get started early with the software side so it's not so stressful in the last week even. Like even giving yourself a week is not long enough to become familiar with a brand new software system. We do our best to make it easy, but it's one of those things that's not super easy. But anyway, we gotta move on because we have to cover a lot. I've only got 20 minutes before my next call. So let's move through some housekeeping stuff. So just some interesting news. I just wanted to share a comment. So Overwatch just started the preseason stuff. It was interesting to me. It's streaming exclusively on MLG TV. I know why they own MLG now. Activision Blizzard does. But the funny thing is that one of my friends, Sean, pointed out to me is like on MLG TV, you can't see how many viewers there are. On Twitch, you can always look up in the corner and see how many people are viewing. But I think it's interesting that they did this. I don't know if that's why. And I don't know if that's why MLG TV doesn't show the number of viewers. But you can't really tell how many people are watching. Maybe you can somewhere, and we just don't know how. But I tuned in last night. Xander, my son, who plays Overwatch. I don't play Overwatch. I was confused what was happening. I wasn't really into it. It was really hard for me to get excited about it. I really thought the set was amazing. Like the video boards in that arena, like I don't even know what else to compare it to. Like you are in this bubble of video boards that they can put things below you and above you and behind you and all around you. And, so they can make it look like whatever they want. They can give a depth dimension, or they can have logos, or they can have the players' faces, or it's a beautiful, gorgeous set. And it seemed like it ran pretty well and pretty smoothly with their spectator mode. But again, as a non-player, I don't think it's a bad idea. Like, I think there's hundreds of millions of Overwatch players eventually that will watch these things. It's a great big audience. Like you don't have to reach everybody with every game. You're probably only going to reach those that I'm a gamer and I play a lot of different games, but I don't understand Overwatch because I don't know every player. I don't know what their ults are. I don't know what their abilities are. Like I have no idea a lot of the game types, like what are they trying to do or whatever. So I thought overall though, they've set a precedence on how you get into the system. Like you can run on these local events and qualify and earn points, and you can then get noticed at this other level. Like I love the foundation they've built for their players to try to work their way up through the system. Granted, we're here and our LAN centers are here because we want to provide the other 99.9% that aren't the top something to compete with, something to do. But I think Overwatch as a whole have given their players a pretty good path to the pro level. We've never wanted to be that. Like we don't want to give people a path to pro. We want to give local communities the chance to compete against each other and against other local communities. But I really thought the Overwatch stuff was pretty hot. You haven't seen any of it at all. No. You should probably – I don't know if it's on again tonight, but if it's on tonight, it'll be on like 7:30 or so on MLG TV.
I might be able
just
to
tune in and watch like 30
demand
minutes
or something like that.
Yeah, like anybody out there, you just watch a little bit of it. Even if you don't know what's going on, pay attention to the set. Money is being put into this. If you want to know where all that $20 million went to, I can tell you it's looking pretty hot and sexy. All the players in the game have their own uniforms on, which is the first game I've seen do that, where it makes it easy for me to tell who's on what team. Like I understand the game League of Legends, but half the time, like at first glance, you have to look at the little bar above the player, to see if they're red or blue. And then you have to remember which team was red or blue. Like the players have jerseys on representing their team, which is super, super cool. The players in the game, the characters, that's what I meant.
Right.
Obviously the players have it on, but the characters in the game have it on.
Okay. Gotcha.
Other interesting news, other than like every single news feed that comes into me for esports is always about money being dumped into the craziest ideas. Like I continue to see all these ICOs for these crazy esports. We're going to build, I don't even know. Like, obviously there's a lot of that, but there's also a lot of hope in things like Rocket League I've seen recently and a couple others that continue to grow their professional tour system, and they continue to build out new facilities and work with big publisher or big broadcast companies on putting the stuff on actual television. Like NBC was involved with Rocket League, and obviously the NBA is getting ready to start their E-League stuff. So we've We met with the 76ers while I was in Philadelphia last week, or this week, I guess. We're working close with the Pacers. Like, they're spending money. I just saw today that I think the Kings announced they're building their facility in the arena. So they're going to build their team's facility in their actual basketball arena, which is super cool. So lots of stuff happening around that. We obviously have some stuff to talk about housekeeping-wise. So let's go through some ggLeap stuff, and then we'll talk about some ggCircuit stuff. So ggLeap updates. One thing I want to be clear, not that anybody watching this will pay attention at this point, but we've had an awesome program called the Pioneer Program. We started this year. It did exactly what we wanted it to do, is provide extensive benefits to the early adopters of our software so that we had the funds to push through this development year. I'm trying to decide if I should share this number or not, but we've spent everything. Like, we've spent everything on developing this software. Like, anything that we bring in, I don't get paid, like we're spending everything on developing the software, and everything that everybody's given to us in the Pioneer Program at this point has been to build the software. And we've given back to them all these opportunities for discounts and long-term discounts, even lifetime discounts. That is ending at this end of this month. Like, it literally has to stop on December 31st because we're bringing in outside investment. We don't want to have a confusing program moving forward as we get our regular product launch next year. We have to go to the subscription model, and so the Pioneer Program ends December 31st. So there are 20 some days left in this month. Like, if you get in before the end of the month, and you're good. But as of the end of this month, we are no longer accepting any payments towards that program because we're going to move forward January 1. If you're at a certain level, you'll start your early access credit running off your account at that point. So there's levels to get a 20% lifetime discount, a 50% lifetime discount, and a lifetime free subscription for 2 stores. If you get to those certain levels, ask JMac, ask Ross, ask Dustin, ask myself if you're interested in those. We're trying to get the word out to all the existing ones to make sure they know they can no longer contribute to the program after the end of this month. So please, 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 if you have any questions about that, it's your chance to be in at the ground floor, be a supporter of what we've done, and then there's great benefits for your centers to move forward from that. Point of sale is almost done. Parts of it are in beta and alpha right now. If you'd like to try that, talk to JMac, talk to Ross, talk to the support groups. They can give you the address to get logged into that and try it out. Luckily before I forget about it, Ross is out because they just had a new baby boy. He is lady, I think is how he says it. But so that's their third. So I have no idea how Ross is going to ever do any support ever again. It is interesting to balance home life, but he is great. He takes calls from Alienware on his way home, and he comes back in the office late at night to work with customers. So Ross is gone this week. I think he's back next week or the week after. But congratulations to Ross and their family.
He's actually running the European PUBG servers right now.
Is he from home?
With 2 babies in his arms.
Yep. So we've got point of sale coming up, and then obviously the big plan for us is that we have an investment that we're working on finalizing for ggLeap, ggCircuit, and that will allow us to devote to basically take our current development team, and our plan is to multiply that by 6. So you can imagine at the rate we've been working on stuff now, that rate will be multiplied by 6 starting in January. And we're trying to knock out the last few things. It's no longer about, because this investment's coming in, it's no longer about getting to version 1, because we want to have a very polished product before we call it version 1. But it is totally about hitting the roadmap route milestones of the features and things that we all need. So I don't know if I should share this or not, but I'm very, very close to the release of the point of sale. Will also be client-side ordering in the client. That's a big thing that a lot of the centers that we're talking to are waiting on. So you can order food and drink right from the client, and we're setting it up hopefully in this first version that the player will also be able to redeem things in the prize vault with their coins right from the client. So imagine a guy earns enough coins, and you've got your hours for 5,000 coins. If he gets to 5,000, he goes right into the prize vault, buys the 1 hour for 5,000 coins, and boom, it adds the 1 hour to his account. He didn't come to the front counter. He didn't have to check with your employees for anything. So we're putting all of that in this next release, and then we're going back to finish up. We might have personal user files done in the middle of it. This goes right into our next topic, but we're working on redoing the linking system. It should be done this month because League of Legends changed a few things so that we can't verify account ownership with the runes anymore. So we're going back to the system that we originally started, which is very important for us to add games like CSGO and some other things. So we're going to link the account automatically right at the computer. So basically, when a player logs into ggLeap and launches League of Legends and signs in, we're going to go in and scan the files in the directory that Riot saves everything and grab the summoner name and auto-link it for that player right then and there. So you talk about the magical dream world that we've waited on for a year while we've been building ggLeap. That, to me, is the first big difference between the old school ggCircuit running with other software that we had no control over and the new school, like everything's in one system. Player sits down, starts to play Smite, starts to play League of Legends, starts to play CSGO, whatever it is. If we can go find their username in a log file, we're going to auto-link them right then on the spot and start tracking coins for them. So there's nothing that the customer and the player needs to do. So that's pretty fun. Along with that, we're going to try to coordinate our potential dates for Season 7 so that we're really hoping to launch Season 7, I'm going to say February or March, somewhere in that range, because we want to launch with this system done so that auto-linking's done, but also so that Overwatch launches with it for this season for sure. So those dates are going to be a little bit varied over the next month or so as we need to be sure that the new linking system's finished and that we can get the Overwatch coin system in place so that we can track it and get it to that level. We need it to be even with everything else. But we do have a sponsor we're working with. We won't say yet because we're still finalizing the deals with them. But that sponsor will be providing prize packs, which we started last season. We'll make them available to international centers, so you'll be able to get them at hopefully a lot less shipping than the last one. We're paying attention to the size. It's another manufacturer of peripherals. So it's the cool stuff that we got before from eBlue, only this time it'll be a different brand. So it'll be keyboards, mice, headsets, mouse pads, all that kind of stuff. And we're working on a couple other brands to sponsor some things for that season as well that will bring other benefits in, like potentially grand prizes for the season or digital prizes that can be earned throughout the season. So those things are coming down the pipe. Zehn Masters is obviously getting going. And for those of you that don't know, Zehn Masters is our pro-level series that we just started, and we invited a few centers to participate in North America. It's a $20,000 payout series over 20 events, so it averages out to $1,000 per event. However, the single-player events are like $500 payouts, and some of the bigger ones like Overwatch are $2,000 per event. But you basically have a contest locally to find your best player or your best center. And then you crown them as your sponsored team, and then you bring them online on our WAN dates to play against the best player or best team from all the other centers. So that starts up next weekend. We're hoping to do some streaming with that. We have a lot of stuff going on, so it's not something that we're going to coordinate and do a big push on streaming that series. But I know some of the centers do their own streaming, so there'll be matches that can be watched online for those. And then new account linking was my last thing. So we've kind of covered that. I know I wanted to rush through that because I've only got 7 minutes till my next call, but any points or any thoughts on any of that as I ran through it real fast, J-Mac? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, in the world of ggCircuit and ggLeap. Trying to think of anything that I would have missed out on covering. I mean, there's so much stuff that's happening every week, and I've thought about making these shows in order to do it more weekly, getting together and making it a short series where I just maybe throughout the week make a couple notes of just what's happening in my world. Once we sign some of these deals, it'll be easier for me because then I can say names like I can say this, like, because we work with Alienware already on a couple things. We're working with Alienware on some bigger projects for next year, as far as the season goes and events for LAN centers and that sort of thing. I just want to be able to share some more of these details of partners we're working with once we have some of these deals signed. So I know that matters to a lot of the people that follow us, and especially people that are getting in this business that know that I need them to know that there's now group of us working together that are getting these benefits from publishers and sponsors, that they can join us in this trip together so that they're not doing it by themselves. How we still find land centers out there that have been running for a year or two that had no idea that somebody like us exists. Like, some of these people they didn't even go looking for software or anything. It's like they feel like they're the first ones that have ever built out a land center somehow in their area, and in their area of the world or city they are. But in the day and age of the internet, like, how you miss out on opportunities like joining forces with us is beyond me. But the nice thing is that with this investment too, we'll be able to dedicate a few more people on outbound, like us reaching out to them. Right now, we're overwhelmed with how many people come to us. Look, we are not doing any outside sales for the software company, nor on eBash's side for us to build out stores next year. Like, we're overwhelmed with how many people that are calling us. But when we ramp up and we can have a couple more people involved in these departments, now all of a sudden we can assign people. Somebody asked me the other day if we have a land center in the state of Washington, and we don't. Like, we don't have a land center that we work with in the state of Washington. And how is that possible? Is there not one there? Is there not one anywhere in the state of Washington? I doubt it. Seattle.
There's a couple there, but I haven't been able to contact either one of them. And I do know that we have 2 potentials right now that are planning in the Portland area. But, other than that, that's Oregon. That's not Washington. But I know that there's a couple in Seattle, Game Clucks, I think, and something Royal Gaming Center or something like that.
Right, it's just hard to know, like what stage they're at.
Yeah.
Right, what stage are they in? Are they PC? Are they console? We got contacted by that chain that builds out the console centers. Like, they want to start getting involved with some stuff, and I'm not sure how much they do with PCs at their stores, but like, what are they using to run their businesses right now? Like, is it all hands-on? Do they have to, is there a piece of software that's helping them tie all that stuff together? I don't know. So anyway, sorry to be so short and to cut it off. I know, obviously, I'm glad we got together and we were able to do one this week. Like I said, if we focus on this being a shorter, like if we could get it down to under 30 minutes each time, that's my fault. It's not as people watch these. It's not as if JMac is running his mouth.
I'm keeping this show. I'm holding it up.
So, I know it's my fault to, I get excited about whatever we're talking about, but I try not to ramble on. And we do, like, I'm looking at the camera because I have my notes right there and I have an outline that I try to follow through and make sure we hit all the points. So it's not me just randomly spitting off stuff in the back of my head, but I don't want to be that minister that, starts his sermon at 11:30 and at 12:15 people are looking at their watches because it's lunchtime. So
I need to go
anyway.
Watch football. All right.
That's right. That's right.
See you next time. Enjoy your calls. Bye.
Sounds good, buddy. I'll see you. Bye.